Welcome to Storyworld with Daniel, the home of chilling horror stories that feel too real to ignore. Here you'll hear tales of haunted places, dark secrets, mysterious encounters, and terrifying events that will keep you on edge. Every story is told in a way that pulls you into the fear, making you wonder if it could happen to you. If you love scary stories, spine-tingling narrations, and realistic horror that lingers in your mind long after the story ends, you're in the right place. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Let's begin. I was 18 when I started college at a small university in Virginia, not far from my hometown. Because of the pandemic, the campus felt half empty, and most of the dorms were quieter than anyone expected. At first, I thought the silence would make things easier, but it quickly turned into something I'll never forget. My roommate's name was Aaron. On the surface, he seemed fine, polite enough, distant, maybe a little odd. He didn't spend much time in the room, which I thought was a blessing. But strange things started happening on weekends. When I came back after visiting home, I would crawl into bed and swear I felt the weight of someone leaning against me. I told myself it had to be stress, or maybe my imagination. But then it started happening more often, and each time the feeling grew heavier, more real. One night, it became impossible to explain away. I was half asleep when I felt a hand rest on the back of my neck. It wasn't a brush or a twitch, it was firm, deliberate. My body froze. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just waited. When I finally rolled over, Aaron was lying in his bed, facing the wall. He didn't say a word, and I couldn't bring myself to ask. The next morning, I called my mom. I tried to laugh it off, but she could hear the fear in my voice. She told me to go to the housing office, to get out of there as soon as I could. The office agreed to move me, but they needed time to prepare another room. That left me stuck with Aaron for a few more weeks. After that, I started noticing little things that didn't make sense. His old roommate had left suddenly, and no one knew why. He kept dozens of bottles of prescription medication lined up neatly on his desk, though I never saw him take them. Sometimes at night, I heard him whispering when he thought I was asleep. One afternoon when he was out, I made the mistake of opening his desk drawer. Inside were small notebooks filled with jagged handwriting, pages of strange lists, random words and drawings. Some showed dark figures, some doorways, and one sketch that looked exactly like my bed. My hands shook as I put everything back. From then on, I knew I couldn't trust him. The last weekend before I moved out was unbearable. I tried to stay away from the dorm, but on Sunday night I had no choice but to sleep there. Aaron was waiting when I came in. He didn't greet me, just stared while I packed up my bag. Then, in a quiet voice, he asked if I was switching rooms. My stomach dropped. I hadn't told him. I tried to deny it, but he just nodded like he already knew. That night, I didn't sleep at all. The morning I finally moved out, my mom came to help. We worked quickly, praying Aaron wouldn't show up. But just as we were finishing, the door opened and there he was. He leaned against the frame, watching silently. Then casually he asked me where my new room was. I lied, told him I didn't remember. He pressed for details, the building, the floor, anything, but my mom cut him off and pulled me out the door. I thought that would be the last time I saw him. But a week later, I realized I'd left some things behind. Against my better judgment, I went back. The room was dark, the curtains pulled tight. I grabbed my charger and sweatshirt quickly, but before I could leave, the door clicked shut. Aaron stood behind it, smiling faintly. Again, he asked where my new room was. I stammered that I couldn't remember. His smile slipped, and the silence stretched until he finally stepped aside. I didn't look back until I was halfway down the hall, and when I did, the door was cracked open just enough for me to see his shadow standing there. I never saw him again. Rumors spread that his next roommate moved out just as quickly as I had, but no one gave details. I don't know if Aaron was sick, dangerous, or just broken in ways I'll never understand. What I do know is that I still wake some nights with the memory of his hand pressing against my neck. And in the quiet, when the air feels too still, I sometimes hear his voice asking the same question over and over.